Hello, good evening, and welcome to the FB4 podcast for this Sunday night. I'm Gav, and with me, of course, I have Keith, I have Grizz, and I have Seany. Tonight, we're going to look back at Liverpool's victory over West Ham United at Anfield yesterday, and we're going to have a look at team selections. We're going to have a look at the first 45 minutes, the second 45 minutes, tactics, formations, impact, subs, media narratives, VAR, all sorts of messing going on tonight, to be honest with you. And we're going to try and bring you through this show step by step, and we've 6 or 7 nice things to talk about as well. Seany, I'm going to come to you first because you cost the most money to us every week. You will only appear once. We can only afford you once a week. So you cost us the most, so I'm going to get me money's worth by starting with you, if that's okay. And I want to start off, Seany, with team selection. And look, you know, everyone knows the issues we have at centre-half, a couple of issues around midfield. You know, will we go 4 up front? Will we go 3 up front? All that sort of stuff that's going on. But the team shocked a few yesterday, Seany. I had to have shocked you as well.
Yeah, me, probably more than anyone else. I don't normally get reactionary after seeing first 11s and lineups, but as soon as that first 11 came out yesterday, I felt like, you know what, I think we might take licks here today. I think we could get turned over. I just had that feeling about this game all week because I thought that the performance on Tuesday against Midtjylland was probably one of the worst performances I've seen attacking-wise under Klopp since he's come in. And that worries me because defensive performances can kind of be forgiven with the situation that we're in. But I never expect us to struggle on the attacking front. And I was thinking, you know what, West Ham will be bang up for this. Nat Phillips going in, having playing little or no football. It just seemed like there was red alarms going off everywhere, but in the end, I ended up looking like a fucking idiot because it seems like Jurgen Klopp actually knows what he's doing for a change.
For a change. Someone's got to clip that. Nice and early. Didn't go off the bed early now. That's it. Grizz, Seany talks about it. Listen, Nat Phillips starts, and I seen a good point on Twitter where, you know, everyone was talking, would it be Henderson goes back in there? Could it be Wijnaldum that goes back in there? Will it be Rhys Williams after a good display for 60 odd minutes against Midtjylland? And then Nat Phillips turns up, and on Twitter I seen somebody say, well, hold on, Rhys Williams is in the Champions League squad. Nat Phillips isn't. Is it a case of managing games and just using people when you need to use them and looking forward to, you know, Atalanta and beyond in the Champions League? But Nat Phillips was a huge shock to everyone, Grizz. Like, and anyone that, I know there's people out there that go, you trust Klopp, and you absolutely do, except Seany, who I was only trusting him since yesterday. But, you know, when you do look at it, Grizz, you know, and you do have to trust him, all things being equal, vast majority of fans had to look and go, whoa, Nat Phillips is left field and hasn't played for Liverpool this season and stuff. It has to get you that bit nervous, Chris.
Gav, I hate to be that guy, but what was my message in the WhatsApp group straight away when we found out he's playing? I said, he'll be fine. And the only reason for that is not because I'm a footballing genius and, you know, whatever. I am. But that wasn't the reason why.
Can I tell you why it was?
Go on.
Because Keith said, these are all big lumps at West Ham, and so is Nat Phillips. It'll be grand. And you said, that's right.
Okay, well, that was... Yeah, but football men, we think alike. And me and Keith often have these thoughts that come out simultaneously. He just managed to get there first. It's not a problem. We share, we care. It's fine.
Yeah, Gav, can I just give you another reason why I felt like there was a dodgy result in the pipeline? Remember when we got beaten by Watford last season, and I remember the build-up all week was Liverpool can go clear here with the most number of wins in a row, 19. And then I was watching Football Focus on Saturday morning, and I seen we had an opportunity to equal a 63 unbeaten home game record, and I was like, well, there you go. The bang of L of this, as the kids say these days. I thought we were going to take a big L, but look, sure, we're going to get into it, but it's just, I'm starting to run out of words for this team without Van Dijk. But I'll let you go into it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I was nervous, but I thought we'd be okay overall for the fact that it was West Ham. and for the fact that it was a Moyes team, and for the fact that Antonio wasn't playing and his replacement was a 6'2" or 3, whatever, lump that doesn't move around too much. He just doesn't. He was built up to be this. He's going to be a savior. I think he was pretty expensive for West Ham. I'm not sure if it was he really. See, there you go. I know he was. I know he cost him a bit, and he's coming from Germany. But I had watched him a couple of times in Germany, and he didn't look anything like, what I thought would sort of take the Premiership by storm. And so it's been proven. Antonio is look. If Antonio was playing, then I would be in the Seany camp this week. I would have been shitting myself. But the fact that Antonio wasn't playing, I thought this guy will just be meat and drink for Phillips. He may win some, he may lose some, but it'll be battle of the sluggers, and it will suit Nathaniel Phillips to the ground. I would have been more worried if maybe they brought in the Behrama, whatever his name is, to play up front. A trickier player, on the ground. That's where Phillips struggles. But with those long balls, as soon as he won that first header, sort of filled him with confidence. You could see he grew another 2-3 feet. Maybe you should try it as well. Win a few headers in your garden, make you feel a bit taller as well, Gav. But he was
2 or 3 feet. It'd leave me at 8'9", Grizz. I'm not going to do it. Do you know what I mean?
He was.
Can I win one header? Can I win one header and bring you up to about 5'11"? I'd be happy. Just go out and throw the ball up. Just throw the ball up between me and my 7-year-old and just win a towering header. Walk through the door 5'11". Happy days.
Exactly.
Can't be walking around a gaff like Peter Crouch in the Paddy Power lads.
He'd be bashing his head against the door and all sorts.
Yeah.
But he
called Hurley's out his back garden now. Go on.
He was. It suited him. I think Klopp, saw this, and the genius that he is knew that he'd be the perfect player for that situation. I suppose Henderson was an option. It would have given us more control. But when THIAGO was ruled out, then that was a no-go to go to that formation. And it made sense. I thought it made sense. It was an absolute surprise, but it made sense with the team that we were playing and the coach who was going to only play that long ball system. And it worked out okay.
It did. Keith, I'm going to go back on to, before we move on to the next session, I'm going to have a talk about Nat Phillips and actually how he played. But I don't want to leave it to later because we're in around the formation and the team selection. And in fairness, that was the one that was a real surprise. So I'll get on to him in a minute and I'll talk to you all about it. But Keith, the other thing about the team yesterday was, couple of things. Curtis Jones comes into midfield with Henderson and Wijnaldum. So they've reverted back to the 4-3-3. And of course, Jota drops to the bench. Despite being very impressive anytime he's played for us, but he's gone with us tried and tested up front. Was Jones another surprise for you, and Jota not being in the start 11?
Yeah, Jones was a surprise, but it's nice to see that he's putting a bit of faith in him. Now, I know he got a lot of stick, Curtis Jones, for his performance, and that's on the back of another performance where he got some stick. But I thought he was okay. Now, I thought he went more 4-2-3-1, to be honest. I thought Hendo and Gini sat a bit deeper, and maybe that was part of the, Nat Phillips and Gomez at the back that they felt they needed to sit a bit deeper, and I thought Jones had a little bit of a freer role. But yeah, it was a surprise to see him in there. Jota, I can't see many times when we'll go with our front three, the normal front three, and Jota, unless Bobby is the one that goes in sort of behind. Do you know what I mean? I think it'll be not that it's not going to work. Like, I think Jota is very versatile, but I think he seems to do his best work from the left hand side. So then you're moving bodies all over the place. So I wasn't overly surprised that Jota wasn't starting. I think at the moment he's just going to have that impact sub role. But going back to the midfield, I think Curtis Jones getting a start. It's a confidence booster for him. It's not 5 minutes at the end. It's a Premier League start.
Yeah, listen, I was quite harsh on Curtis Jones after the Ajax game, and the point I made was, no matter what age you are, if you're playing in the Champions League, you have to show something, and I was quite critical of him defensively. What I found with him yesterday was, though, he was looking to get on it. West Ham set up 5-4-1 and did 9 men behind the ball at all times, bar when they break out the odd time. But it's hard. it's a hard game anyway, you know, the kind of way. And I think if you're going back to the 4-3-3, he probably makes the most sense. Putting him in the midfield three, because I think he makes more sense than a Shaqiri from the start.
Yeah.
And we get on to Shaqiri later.
And he's over 6 foot as well. Yeah, you have to
and-
remember that West Ham have big lumps in the midfield as well, so
Yeah,
it was
and-
probably a height thing.
And there's probably an argument that if you stick a 4-2-3-1, you put Jones in the centre of that three behind the forward, because he likes that position as well. You know, he's played many times at underage level where he's an really attacking midfielder. And look, I was probably a bit harsh on Jones last week. I'm going to hold my hands up. When I listen back to the show, I thought, yeah, you're a bit fucking hard. Stop being a prick to him. And yesterday I thought it's another stepping stone in his career. And I did say at the start of the season, you don't expect too much from Curtis Jones. If he can come in and do a solid job and learn on the job as he goes, and, you know, he's not horrific, that's a good season for him. And if he does that 10 or 15 times in the league, that's absolutely acceptable. I'm not expecting Curtis Jones to pull the place apart from minute one. Yeah, Grizz.
Gav, I think he played to instruction that first half, you know.
Correct.
I genuinely do.
I
think the reason why we reverted back to this formation, and I must admit I wasn't happy with it at the start. You know, we will have our opinions. I thought Jota deserved the start, and I knew he wasn't going to drop the others. And I thought we may play that similar 4-2-3-1 or 4-2-4 even. With the double pivot, but I think he wanted more control. I think Klopp definitely wanted to keep the ball away from West Ham as much as possible, because he knew the moment they will get it, they're going to play sort of rugby style football in terms of play for the corners, possession, throw-ins, etc., etc. But the more we keep the ball away from them, the less chance they will have to do that. And do you remember we talked about in the preview how different teams change tactics when they have to protect or change the way they defend. So we haven't got any personnel to change the defense with per se. We have to change the way we play as a team. And I think that was evident in the way Gini and Curtis and Henderson were very careful with the ball in the first half. I thought we were very passive. We were very safe. We were very controlled.
Are you getting into this first half before I talk about Nat Phillips?
No, I'm talking about the midfield setup. Jones's setup. I think Jones was playing in sort of asked to keep the ball, a la Gini and Henderson. So I think he played far less riskier balls than he would have played in a normal situation, in a normal game. His normal game, sorry.
LBM Lens says Jones has been behind the pace with the step up, but the only way he will get better and play with a fast tempo that the Premier League demands if he gets minutes, especially with the amount of rotation needed. It's a very good point.
Look, I find that like people seem to be missing the fact. Now I don't like bringing it up because you have the media harping on about it at every opportunity, but at Liverpool, even last year, you could say that midfield is always conservative, solid, and walk like with tasks set out. They've got to be even more so like that now that there's no Virgil van Dijk in the team. They need to make sure that there's less chance for the opposition to get at a weakened back four, because let's be honest, that's what it is, and that's what it was all about. And for Klopp to trust Jones in both Ajax games and West Ham games, where West Ham love to go forward, like that lad Masuaku at the back, and that new lad that they got, the fullback, they love, exactly. They've been very good. They've been very expansive, West Ham, which you wouldn't normally associate with a Moyes team. So you need to understand that, like, the high line is gone. There's no more of this living on the edge. We are now banking on picking up second balls from their attacks instead of standing up and waiting for an offside decision to be made. So just because of them, these little tactical changes will be made in the absence of Van Dijk to make sure we take as much pressure as possible off the two lads at centre half. And I think Grizz is spot on. I think Jones played the role on Saturday. That's not the game he's used to play, but he showed a maturity. I think he showed a maturity. And Gav, I also agree 100. Like, I know this sounds like a bit nod and dog, but like you said, if Jones can get 13 to 15 games under his belt this year of that ilk where he's doing that, that's invaluable to a young player at that stage of his career. He's not going to be coming on. Exactly, he's not going to be coming on and ripping her up every week. He's going to be in and out of this side when needed. And you need to understand, his options will become more limited when the likes of Keita is available, when THIAGO is available, when Chamberlain is available. So this is just a mix-up for now because the schedule is absolutely nuts. Klopp is on his rotation game from day dot now, and we're seeing it from the early doors.
Yeah, we absolutely are. And we spoke about, is he playing a two in midfield to try just rotate the 3 or 4 he has available, and then as he gets people back, he goes back to the 3 in midfield because he's more numbers to rotate, and that may be the case. With regards to Curtis Jones, I'll stick by it. I don't expect him to tear things up. I do expect a certain level from him, and that level was okay yesterday. It wasn't anything outstanding, but it wasn't anything turgid. He
plays the ball to Salah for the penalty.
That's what I was going to say. He
does. It's a solid performance. But like I said, if he's getting an hour here and an hour there, and maybe 90 if we're controlling the game, that's brilliant for his education. Now, don't get me wrong. We could sit here in a year's time, and if he's still putting in the performance he did yesterday, you go, hold on, has he progressed? And that's fair. But at the moment, you're looking at a guy it's his first full season, really. It is his first full season as a proper first team squad member. So I think you cut him a little bit of slack. Lads, Nat Phillips, and it surprised me, I'm looking in the chat here, and I'm gonna, if people want to throw in their opinion on Nat Phillips, they can, but I've seen people saying, really good, not trying to be anything he's not, gets rid of it when he needs to, heads it, very kind of Mick McCarthy kind of vibe off him as an Irishman.
That's a great comparison.
Heads everything, bustles into people, kicks it away as far as he can. The absolute prime Jack Charlton player for Ireland in the late 80s to early 90s. I'm seeing other people saying, no, he's just not a Liverpool player. I thought he was poor. How did he get man of the match and stuff like that? But Grizz, I come to you. He's been away in Germany. He's been on loan. He was linked with Bristol City, I think, in the summer before the window closed. He's stuck around. He comes back, of course, for the derby in the cup last season, and that's probably the last time you see him play for Liverpool. But Grizz, he starts there yesterday. He wins plenty of aerial duels. He gets his tackles in. He's physical. He gets rid of it when he needs to. He's not trying to be Virgil van Dijk or Joe Gomez or Joe Matip or any of them. He's just defending, and if you're telling me, Grizz, that Jones plays to an instruction, I think Nat Phillips' instructions was block everything and kick it away, and he done that absolutely fine, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. It was interesting, sort of in the interview afterwards. He talked about his hero being Jamie Carragher when Jamie sort of gave him the man of the match performance, and I thought it was very similar to a young Jamie Carragher type performance. That was Jamie Carragher. See it. Head it, see it, lump it, near post, make sure you're covering the near post when the cross comes in and lump it. And that's the 3 things he'd done very well. And he passed the ball out a couple of times very fine as well. Look, I'm not going to suddenly sit here and tell you that he's now our 4th choice centre-back. He's now going to have a future at Liverpool. He's not. He came in to do a job, and I thought he done that job absolutely amicably. But it's testimony to the squad atmosphere and sort of how good they feel about themselves that he can step in with no qualms, feel part. He was very vocal. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He was so vocal. Now, it may have been instruction from Klopp, and we know Klopp has talked about asking the back 4 to talk more now because of no Virgil and Fabinho and Matip, etc. But I thought he was vocal. I thought he'd done what he had to do. It was a proper old school centre-back performance. It was like a centre-back from the Championship, how you expect him to play. And that's, I think you said it before the game, we need him just to do a job. Even a 6, 7 out of 10, just don't make any mistakes and do your job. And I thought he was very well in that. He done very well in that aspect. I'm not going to big him up overly because he may not play again, for the Reds. But for that particular game, he was fantastic.
Seany, I want to ask you something, Seany, because Grizz touches on something there. Make no mistakes. And in a game like that yesterday, Seany, where we had the vast majority of the ball, the only time, don't get me wrong, West Ham score, Fornells gets a goal, it's a header out, it's a good finish. In fairness to him, people went on about Gomez's block and stuff like that, but in fairness, in that sort of game, Seany, where you have the vast majority, when you see teams nick a 1-1 or nick a win on you, where they've defended well, it's usually down to a mistake. And
exactly,
if Nat Phillips doesn't make a mistake there, yes, he's absolutely fine.
Yeah, look, a big thing to me is, and I think this is where, I think if we could have coached this into Dejan Lovren, he'd still be there and he'd be an excellent third or fourth choice centre back. A big part of being centre back for me is your decision making, right? So this comes down to, like you said, not making mistakes and just doing your job. But what you do as a centre half is, especially if you're going to be getting into aerial duels for the majority of 90 minutes, is you pick your battles. You don't try to win every single ball. Sometimes you have to stand off, let the attacker win the ball, and then just anticipate the second ball. And I think he done that yesterday brilliantly, Nat Phillips. He done that very well. He wasn't overly rash. He wasn't over committing. He didn't find himself lost at sea trying to put himself on the board. He wins his first header and it settles him into the game. He's very good with just playing the balls out. He did exactly what was asked from him. And like you said, if you just don't make mistakes in this Liverpool team, you'll always give yourself a chance. He picked his battles brilliantly because Haller was trying to pin him for 90 minutes and he wasn't allowing it. He was saying, you know what, you can hold me here. I'm not going to go with you. If you want to go inside, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to trust myself to hold in position here and have Gomez there. They work so well as a pairing, I thought, which is another, like, I know Gomez is getting lashed for it was a poor clearance for the goal. Let's be honest. It's a poor defensive header from Gomez. I think he has time. I don't know why he doesn't. But even with Williams in the other game, you could see that they were developing something together. And even with Phillips, even that just being the one game where he came in there, there seemed to be a harmony between the pair of them, as if to say, you know what, you go, I'll sit in, one goes, one sits. Like, you learn that at the very, very start of your football and when you're playing as a centre-back. Pick your battles. And he done that brilliant yesterday. He done that absolutely brilliantly. And he never switched off. And he kept his head in. And you can see after the game, you can see him on Instagram, you can see him after the game, the lad was just chuffed. And Klopp even made a remark to us saying he was nearly off to America on a scholarship a couple of years ago. And now he's lining out for Liverpool.
Yeah, he left
Klopp.
both.
Yeah, Klopp alluded to the type of person he is. Said he's a good lad with a head on his shoulders. And look, it just goes to show, Liverpool being one of the best teams in Europe at the moment, regardless of injuries, a lad there with a level head and an honesty was able to get an opportunity to play in the team. And he done a job for Klopp. And that's a testament to Jurgen Klopp also, that these lads and the 11 lads around them buy into it. Like you see United, you see Pogba today after the game, he's throwing his colleagues under the bus. Bruno Fernandes is out in the media saying, we should be doing more. No, not with these lads. Not with Trent Alexander-Arnold, who coached a young 19-year-old to a Champions League game last week after people saying that he's defensively poor himself. Yeah. He made his 100 Premier League appearance yesterday. These lads have Premier League experience, and you can tell together, they all pull together. Everybody's going in the same direction. And once that's the case at Liverpool, we will be fine, no matter what the personnel is. Because, like Grizz said, we don't want to gas Phillips up too much, because the chances are you'll probably count on your hand how many fourth-team appearances you might make in a Liverpool shirt again. But all we can do is commend him for how brilliant he was when he was called upon. And that's all we want from this squad going forward. That's all we can ask for.
Do you know what? I'm a bit shocked by some of the comments, like in the chat. I'm being honest now. Listen, I'm not having a go or whatever, but I'm just shocked at people saying, "Oh, well, if he plays against City, we're fucked." And you have to take into context of what it is. You know, I don't know what the story is with Joe Matip. I don't know what the story is with Fabinho. I just don't know. I don't know what we're going to do with centre half when we play City, because we're not going to have Fabinho and Pot. I don't think Joe Matip either. So you know, it's one of those. But Keith, like, people are probably just nervous. He's 23. He's come in. He done the basics. He wasn't flashy. He probably got pulled out of position once or twice. It happens to the best. You know. But we don't need to panic about games down the road. We have to look at this one and say, he came in, he done a job, fair play to him. We mightn't see him again for the season. I think we might, but we mightn't see him again for the season. And you know, in a couple of weeks' time, if we're on a really good run and we go and beat City and we win the international break, you go, geez, remember Nat Phillips? That was a good game. That was actually important, and fair play to him. You know, because we've seen players, Keith, you know, in the league title winning season last season where they done, but not even that, in the league title season last season, when they were very on the fringes, and it was like, oh, great, delighted for him to get a league medal, you know. So for me, Keith, it's just a case of take that game, look at it in the context of what it is, and say, done well, move on.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I said before the game yesterday, as Grizz was saying, about Nat Phillips, physicality is what Nat Phillips brings to the team. Now, people will say that Reece Williams is a better player than Nat Phillips. I'm not saying he's not, but Reece Williams, while being quite tall, is very, very slender. He's very, not slight, but Nat Phillips is more physically developed, I think, than Reece
He's a
Williams.
taller version of Trent at that age.
Reece Williams.
Yeah,
but he's quicker as well. So I think it's, I'd say Klopp looked at that, and I don't want to harp on, but West Ham are a big physical team. Who do you put in there? He's geared up. He's played a year, and what was he, 2 years at Stuttgart, or a year at Stuttgart, on loan in Bundesliga 2, which is, it's a tough enough league, you know what I mean? And he was playing for Stuttgart, they're not a bad team. He has a bit of experience, and that physicality, I think, is what got him in there, because everyone knew, right, Fornals is a nippy player. Bowen is a good player as well. He's doing well for them. They're in good form. But realistically, you've got Souček, Royce, you've got Haller. They're all big target men. You've got their defenders are all big target men. Their fullbacks are big. Everyone is big, and that suited Phillips. That was the type of game that suits Phillips. Now, if you're playing Man City next weekend, you're not playing against Haller. You're not playing against big, tall players. You're playing against, maybe, I don't know who's up front for them. I think
they haven't got any strikers at the moment.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be Sterling, Mahrez, and probably Blade
Torres.
Foden,
yeah.
So it's a different game. It's a different challenge. And maybe Reece Williams is better suited to play in a game like that, where his pace might be a bit more required than the physicality. But Phillips came in there when he was needed, and he done a great job. If I had been in the middle of a run where, there's not an international break, there's not Man City, he might have got a couple of runs, but the way it's fallen, we play City, he can't play the Champions League because he's not registered in that squad, so he's out for Thursday. We've City on the weekend. Chances are he probably won't play that one, and then it's an international break. And then what's it, Leicester when we come back?
Yeah.
If we're struggling with centre halves, Vardy, pacey player, you might not see him in that one. So, it could have fell for him that he may have got a few more games. But look, if this is his only game, fair play. He came in from the cold and he done a solid. Fair play to him.
He did, and I don't think you can say any more than that. You don't. Yeah. You can knock him over small things. You don't have to big him up like Seany said. You look at it and go, done okay. Game one. Fair play to him.
I think the narrative around the defence is mad at the moment, although I understand it. I understand it by the media, because you look at it, right? We've played 4 games since Van Dijk is out. We've won them all. We've kept 2 clean sheets, and we gave away a stupid penalty. Well, that wasn't a penalty. A Sheffield. Like, everyone's going about how we conceded most goals in the league. Yeah. Well, 7 of them against Villa, and 3 of them are against Leeds. So that's 75% of the goals we've conceded so far this season are in 2 games. Yeah. So it's a complete bullshit stat. It's an absolute bullshit stat. It's something that they're using to cling on. Correct me if I'm wrong. This time last year, the narrative was the exact same. Liverpool look shaky. Yeah. ADRIAN and goal. Alisson hasn't been playing. What's going on there? 100%. Before we knew it, we were 8 points out in front of City, and everyone was going, hold on, what's going on here? Like, Liverpool had to have a few injuries. But now, we went clear today. The pressure's on City now for next weekend. This, despite all of the problems we've had, it just goes to show you, this team, it's nuts. And people were writing us off with a full strength squad a couple of weeks ago. So we need to trust that. I was in my feelings yesterday. I was thinking we were going to get done, and they just proved me wrong completely. Like, it's just,
He's doing it.
It's
doing it.
Yeah.
That's all you can do, genuinely. Grizz, I want to tie 2 things together here. It's a brutal 45 minutes in the first half for me. It's turgid is probably the word. It's not great. And then you look at the tactics and formation. Do you think we got it right in that first half, Grizz? Was it just a case of, it's just not happening for us? West Ham are very resilient. Or could we have shifted it around? What did you make of the way we approached the first half? And did that, I suppose, our approach became a big factor in the fact that the first half just wasn't great.
Yeah. Whilst watching it, I had different feelings compared to sort of talking about it and thinking about it now. But I expected us to play with far more control, which we did. I expected us to be far more solid, which we were, because you got to remember, I know it was 1-0 and we just scored before. Like, I know they scored the first goal, but that was literally the first time they sort of kind of even got into our penalty area or put a cross in. We absolutely limited them to sort of a couple of free kicks, and I can't remember nothing else, to be honest with you. If someone reminds me, in that first half, there wasn't nothing else. And that was the name of the game. But with regards to our own tempo and our own speed of pass and weight of pass, I thought it was poor. I thought that's the poorest I've seen Sadio Mane in a while. But the fella doesn't give up. And we probably will go on to the second half. In fact, I know we're going to the second half.
I hope so. I can't see us stopping at half time and saying, right, that's enough good luck. Unless I run out of cans and get pissed off.
Yeah, we won't bother with the bit where we are actually really good.
Join us on Friday for the second half review of the match from yesterday.
It's mad how we can analyze and dissect just the first 45 minutes, because it's true. When we look at it with a calmer head afterwards and we think of all the situations that we've discussed with the new centre-back, with reverting to the 4-3-3, playing Curtis from the start in that 4-3-3, dropping Jota, who was probably been a standout attacker. So it kind of made sense to play with more control, get a grip in the game, don't make any mistakes. And then Joe obviously has a sloppy header, which leads to a goal. But overall, I thought the tempo and as I said, the speed of our passing could have been quicker. I thought our midfielders could have been a bit more braver. But, again, I think it was Klopp's instructions to make sure we don't get caught. As Shawnee says, they have got a couple of quick players on the counter-attack. That Bowen is so underrated. Absolute underrated.
Yeah.
So look, the name of the game was to play old school Liverpool. When I say old school last season, control the fucking game. Do not let these get a grip in the game. And I don't think they had a grip in the game. They were comfortable, but they didn't have a grip in the game. They were comfortable in terms of what we were doing with it, but that was because of our speed and tempo. And our forwards had an off day in that 45 minutes was poor as I've seen them. Bobby and Sadio's touch was awful. And when we rely on them three in terms of the fullbacks not being as adventurous as they normally are, that sometimes can happen, and that's what happened in that 45 minutes.
Can I give a few stats? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Keith. No, Keith.
No, it's a nice stats.
Can I
stats?
Just throw a few stats, because I know we hate stats on the show, but I was just looking for the first half, right? The first half, right? Liverpool had 75% possession, West Ham had 25%. We had 4 shots, they had 1 on target. That was their goal. So that was all they done in the first half. Big chances created, they had none. Just got that 1 goal, right? So on passes, they had 141 passes, which they got 92 accurate, 65% passing accuracy. We had 440, and we got 399 accurate passes, 91%. We were controlling the game without, doing anything in the final third. We lost possession 72 times, and it was just that sloppiness. We were controlling it, but when it came down to the punishing them, in the final third, we just didn't have it yesterday. But we did control it, and they didn't really offer anything. There was a narrative going around that, again, do you know what it reminded me of? Was Liverpool against Leicester last season, that we were lucky to get away with a win. We'll come on to the rest of the game. But, when you look back at the game, West Ham didn't do much. They didn't offer anything.
I thought they played well. And this is one of the biggest positives for me, was because when we got battered by Villa, I went on the podcast that Sunday and I said, the thing that annoyed me most about that result was Villa didn't even have to work for it.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have to burst their balls for it. And that's what kills me. I don't mind Liverpool losing games if that biting the ear off the dog in the fight.
Yeah.
You see, Sheffield were excellent. Chris Wilder came out after the game saying that's one of our best performances this season, and if you can maintain this level, we'll pick up points. Moyes came out saying, do you know what? I don't think we actually performed too bad. Teams have to be at their very best to still be in games with us.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who we're missing. And that's a massive thing for us, because I think without Van Dijk, controlling games in possession and being more conservative is going to be massive for us, because we need to limit the chances that we give away. Because with Virgil at the back, you're able to give away a couple of chances because you know he's there. And even with Alisson in net, it's a big difference having him there. And I don't we haven't even touched on him yet, the difference that he makes being there. So it's just another one of those performances where everybody else in the league would have been rubbing their hands together through gritted teeth thinking, look at Liverpool, they're starting to look a bit toothless. People were giving out about Jota not starting. But this is the benefit of having someone like Jota on the bench, because everyone was worried about Liverpool. I think they're coming a bit predictable. They rely too much on the fullbacks going forward. Oh, yeah, well, Thiago comes in and changed that. Yeah, well, Thiago's not there. He's injured at the moment. But now, we're an even tougher nut to crack, because when you have Jota coming on, buzzing around after the three boys who weren't on it are running you ragged for 60, 70 minutes, you have to think of Cresswell there last night, Valbuena, when they looked up and seen the board and seen Jota coming on going, holy fuck. And just how intelligent the runs is he makes. He doesn't waste any runs. He just burns you. And then Shaq coming in. We're becoming a different animal again. And we said this every season. With Klopp, there's an evolution in the side every year. Now, we're less predictable because we have these options. And look, I always maintained a Fish Shaqiri is invaluable to the squad because he has so many attributes that you need in the last 20 minutes in the game. When you're trying to pick a lock, he is one of the players that can do it. And he's done it 2 games now in a row. He did it against Moyes and he did it again yesterday to perfection, really. It's top class.
Grizz is fuming here because you've jumped ahead of the agreed agenda that was signed by us all as a proclamation at about 10 to 10. But that's absolutely fine because it's a brilliant segue. And before we go into that segue, Ramez Khalil says, will Matip ever come back? He's kind of taking the piss, to be honest. Ramez, you're talking to the right fella here when you're talking to me about that. Because he's taking the absolute piss. Although we could have got injured taking that piss, I'm not too sure. But we don't know when his return date is. But in all fairness, in all honesty, I'd fucking give anything for him to be back. I really would. He's just so fucking annoying now at this stage. It's turned me to the drink, I'm being honest. But Seany's talked about subs there, and I want to get into it. And Keith, I'll come to you before I get to Grizz. And the second half is better. You know, we're in control, as we said in the first half. You know, we have that goal against us, and people are saying Gomez makes a mistake. And I'm kind of looking at, and somebody made, I might have been John on the chat earlier, said, look, Phillips jumps in front of me, probably sees a late, he heads it out. The thing for me is people saying he didn't block. You can't block footballs anymore, because if he goes out flying there and throws himself in front of that ball and it hits his arm, it's a penalty. That's how football's gone. He tries to predict where the player's going to go, keeps his hands down by his side, and in fairness, Fornells gives him the eyes, because everyone thinks he's going to the right hand side of the goal and he whips it in near post, and Alisson's a bit unsighted. So I'll let Gomez off with that one. I think there's a couple of things there that you could say, yeah, all right, is it a poor header? Yeah, you could throw that at him. But the other things you have to look at, just the way football has gone, and go, what more do you want him to do? If he flings himself like John Terry at that and it hits him in the arm, the chances are they're just giving a penalty because they're fucking lunatics. You know what I mean? We've seen more VAR shit today. But it's a good segue into the second half. And Keith, it is a better second half. We are in control. I still think we're in control. It's just a case of, can we get that winning goal? Can we get a third? Whatever it might be. Can we just grind this out? Because we've called this the grinding Reds, and that's what it's turning into, and we have to get used to that. But Keith, the impact of the subs, because somebody says there, the thing Jota has on other players around him, and he includes Mane and Salah in that, is runs from deep. He runs from deep all the time. He's looking for that from deep run in behind. Now, Mane does it a hell of a lot. Salah tries to pull wide and get it one-on-one, but it's just a different dimension, isn't it? And then you look at Shaqiri. I agree with Seany. I think I was asked last week, you know, Shaqiri, and I don't know where to get him in the team. But if you have him as an impact sub, and Jota until he grows into maybe a starter, 2 phenomenal subs to bring on.
Yeah. They're 2 excellent subs, and that's one of the things, you know, that's being overlooked maybe, is not the reliance on our front 3, but the fact that we have genuine options that can go in, whether it's Shaqiri coming into a deeper position as he has done, or whether it's, you know, Minamino gets a lot of stick. He's done well at times, he's been poor at times. or whether it's Jota now, and it just looks that bit stronger. And to bring them on, as you said, if Mane, Salah and Bobby are running you ragged for, 60, 65 minutes or whatever, and they do, and West Ham, they're a good defence, but they're, Ogbonna, he's quick, but he's a big lad. Balbuena doesn't want to be running around chasing forwards. When you're bringing on someone like Jota, and Shaqiri to a lesser extent, he's not going to run, but he has that cuteness in his ball, and he's always looking for the pass, to cut them open. So it's a different headache for them. It was 100%. The right subs to make at the right time, as it proved, as the game went on. And it just shows the strength that we have there. And as you say, Jota has settled in. I agree. I think you start, and people are clamouring to get him into the team to start. I don't think there's a need for that at the moment. He's doing well. You reward him. He wants to start. Obviously, he doesn't want to be an impact sub. But there's no rush to bring him in. He can gradually, if he can impact games the way he is, and then get the odd start in Champions League or whatever, I think it's the right way to bring him in and get him used to the team. Because we do forget, when Klopp signs a player, it takes them a long time to get used to the pressing triggers and things like that. And well, Bobby Firmino will get a lot of stick for his performances over the last maybe 18 months. He does do a lot of pressing. Maybe it's not doing as much as he has been, but he does do a lot of pressing. And to throw in Jota for 20 minutes and just say, right, you run there, press, but run and impact, that's different than saying you're starting and you're going to be leading the press and you're going to be, triggering this, that, and the other. So it might take him a bit of a while to get totally up to speed with what we want from him. But I'm sure when we do, it'll be even more of a headache.
I agree with you overall with the notion that Jota, is fine, sort of being an impact sub, so to speak. But there is a lot of clamour for him to start, and the reason for that is the form of Bobby.
He started the last 2 games before that.
Yes, and I was going to say he started enough games anyway to be satisfied. He's happy, and I'm not even suggesting there's any type of issue, whatever. But what I'm saying is, I'm swaying towards more the discussion of Bobby than the Jota starting. I think that's slightly more talking.
Go on, then have that conversation then.
Well, look, Bobby,
and before you go on, because you said to me earlier, and you did make the agenda for tonight. You're head of agenda, taking over from Seany because Seany's enough workload. And you said, Gav, it's impact subs that we have craved. And it was a great word to use. It really was, Grizz. We have craved because, even when we win the league last year, people are saying, but did he have that? And who are they bringing on for that front three? That was always the question, wasn't it? And who can they bring on in midfield to change things? And you look at it now, Shaqiri can come on and play in a midfield kind of role and change things once he's fit, And Jota is coming on and being an impact. It is something we crave. So do we make the next step, Grizz? And do we look and go, Firmino just looks tired. He looks lethargic. He's a fantastic footballer. But is the argument to be had now that Jota needs to come in there and find the space from him and give Bobby that little rest? Where are you on this?
I'm exactly what you said, Gav. I'm not one of these that have sort of written off Bobby and say, look, he needs to be sold or dropped permanently or whatever. But I totally agree with a couple of points Seany made earlier in terms of we often discuss, and I've said it as well in the past, in terms of we're always evolving and the more weapons at our disposal. Now, a coach is usually only as good as the weapons at his disposal. And Klopp with the weapons on the subs bench in terms of a Shaqiri or a Jota makes him even a better coach. And I thought the timing of the subs and the players that he brought off. Look, Bobby, to the naked eye, without going into his stats, I don't know his stats. I should have maybe checked up on him. But just to the naked eye, he looks tired. He doesn't look his usual buzzing Bobby. He looks as though his touch. He just needs a break for the team. Do you remember the
I
same?
think he looks mentally tired, Chris.
Yeah, mentally and physically, Gav.
No, not even the physicality thing. I think it's mental.
He hasn't stopped because he's played top level
3 years
non-stop for 3 years.
Yeah. And that's crazy, insane,
And we've been waiting for this breakdown in one of the front three.
Absolutely.
And I don't mind, people are getting on his case for not scoring. Bobby didn't score enough goals last year, I don't think either. But what he did do was...
The year before, I think he won 20 in all competitions.
Yeah. But what he done before that was what he doesn't give you in goals, he makes up for in his in-game intelligence, his pressing, his link-up play, his hold-up play, his bringing other players into the game. But he hasn't done that this year. He hasn't even given us that this year. He's been shocking to put. And look, it's completely understandable because the fella is jacked. He's absolutely jacked. It is. It's normal. This is the breaking down of a fella who's played non-stop football for 3 years, whether it be World Cups, Copa Americas, or just playing, or the way it's panned out with COVID. So there is a discussion to be had about leaving Bobby out. Now, I think the best thing to happen now is I'd play Bobby against City. I probably wouldn't play him on Tuesday night. Correct. But the best thing to happen to Bobby would be to get a knock next weekend against City and give himself a nice 2-week break, or however long that international break is.
Or claim his dollars from the Faroe Islands or something.
He doesn't need to be going to Brazil or halfway across the world to be playing friendlies, to be playing 60 minutes. Klopp had a dig at the Brazil coach because of Fabinho getting dragged. Yeah. So many air miles to play 60 minutes. We need to be a little bit cute here. Just look, let's next week. But look, Bobby has a knock. He might be out for 2 to 3 weeks. And even then, if he misses the Leicester game, just let it be. He needs a rest. Look,
but the beauty of it.
Sorry, Grizz, just before you go on, I just want to read out this comment before I get back to you. I do want to get back to you. 2Pixel2 says on a super chat, he says, honestly, Matip, Naby and Ox probably get injured reaching for the TV remote, made of cheese. I dread City's attack coming up against their defence. Man City have conceded 8 goals in their first 6 games and only scored 9. So let's have a look at their defence against their attack. And I think it's
thing that gets overlooked, isn't it?
Because
we're supposedly stinking.
You're not allowed to say anything against Man City. But Grizz, we've all agreed that we're, grinding out results. How big a part is Bobby playing in us having to grind out results? And what I mean by that is because when Bobby's on it, the reason I said mentally earlier was because when he's mentally on it, he's looking, he's watching, he knows where everyone is, he knows what touch to take, and he's not the quickest in the world, but he takes that touch and his second touch is away from you, and then he's knocking fellas in down the left, down the right. He's so influential. Because that isn't working at the moment, how far is it kind of dragging us down that makes it look like we're grinding out results when in reality we're in control of most games? It's just that spark.
We are, but that's the spark that makes the difference for us in games like this. And look, he is looking not as bright and sparky as you said as he does, but that does come with mental fatigue, and with mental fatigue comes sort of poor technique. What you want to do it, you just can't do it mentally and physically. It does seem he needs a break, and that's the beauty. We were talking about Jota and Shaqiri, and this is probably the first time that we can afford to rest him and not be afraid to do it and not be disheartened and not, the front three, we've had to split up. Normally panic stations set out when one of the top three is not playing. We're in a beautiful position of not doing that. We can adjust the formation in so many ways. We haven't even spoken about Minamino, who, who's looked lively every time he's played, except barring the last one where he wasn't, it wasn't his best game. But this is the perfect opportunity. We've craved, as I said, we discussed in our fair, we've craved this situation to be in. Bringing on Shaqiri, a motivated Shaqiri, a hungry Jota. The guy is just electric and dynamite, and that's why you want to utilize when players are on the peak of their careers or form. You want to utilize them as much as you can. Look, we haven't talked enough about Shaqiri. I thought Shaqiri was an absolute pocket dynamo, and that's his role. I personally don't like him wide on the right. I don't think he's got the attributes in a Klopp team to 4-3-3. But again, he's definitely got the attributes to play behind the striker in the 10 or 4-3-2-1. He's definitely got. I'd go as far as saying, apart from THIAGO, he's the only other player that sees that pass, weight, vision, and everything. And that's what a tag to have sort of after THIAGO, to have that vision. He can do that for us. So, we've got options to go with. We shouldn't be afraid to dropping Bobby. And there's no harm, there's no fear in saying it. There's no shame in saying.
Yeah, we need to stop making this a big thing.
It's not a big thing.
This
How
can
many
Because
be,
if your squad is
not a
there,
choice.
if your squad is there, you use it,
Guys,
and it
guys,
doesn't matter
all
what
the
way you
lads-
use it.
we've all
this is
grown up.
easily,
We've
this
all
is
grown
easily,
up
neg-
watching Man
easily
United
negate-
strike. Remember when he had
Exactly.
4 strikers, the likes of Tevez coming on,
4
Cole
times they
coming
went
on.
for it there.
That was good. I enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
did I.
Jota is our Tevez. Jota is our Tevez. Jota
Yeah.
is our Tevez. He just doesn't look as ugly, so people won't
Yeah.
make that comparison. But he's as tenacious. The finish yesterday is very Tevez.
Yeah.
Goes across his body,
The
goes
run,
across the
everything
side of the
about
goal.
it.
Yeah.
Very good comparison. That.
And like the thing is, right, the dynamic with Bobby in the team is, like you said, he is vital, all right? There's no doubt about it. But he hasn't even been doing that. What Bobby will do is he occupies centre halves. He drops deep. He drops into like let's say that the space in number 10 would play.
Yeah.
So that means their centre halves have to go with him. That makes space for the 2 boys on the other side. The dynamic is now Jota can drag you in, but he can spin you and has that burst of pace to get in behind. So the dynamic changes, but in it for better. So, but we can take Bobby Hill and we can afford the rest of them. Look, I know he was crap against Midtjylland, but Minamino has proved to be a very, very apt squad player.
Yeah.
At the start of this season, the Community Shield, the couple of games he played in the Carling Cup, we were excited about him. We shouldn't just write him off because of a bad performance. The options are there now. And this, like you said, this isn't a massive issue. This can be negated with a little bit of squad management. And I'd love to just see Bobby just taken out, because I think even the media is starting to get onto him now. And as fans, we spot this first because we watch Liverpool intensely every week. And Liverpool only. Do you know what I mean? We will isolate any incident where we feel something's not right. But when the media are starting to pick up on it, that's when you know it's becoming a problem. But it's a problem that can be easily negated with just a little bit of squad management. And I know someone said there, like, it's hard to get a Brazilian lad to not go because playing for Brazil is literally...
Yeah, Stefan said they walk over coals.
Yeah, it's a massive honour, but I just think he needs 2 or 3 weeks out of
for
the
a
team.
valid reason.
Yeah, like he just needs it because Brazil aren't stuck for strikers, and I think
I'm wondering about this lockdown.
Well clear, aren't they?
Yeah, would this lockdown affect the
No.
Would this lockdown affect? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure.
Dispensation is going to be given to all these players. No.
Yeah.
When money's on the line, nobody's going to be held up. Put it that way.
Yeah, no. What I mean is, could the lockdown in the UK, which is due to start Thursday, stop these players from travelling to Brazil or South America?
No, but when the Champions League thing was happening last year, they were given dispensation, weren't they, to
FIFA.
travel?
Yeah.
So
So that's fair enough. So he's going to need a knock, isn't he? We're going to have to hope that Kev De Bruyne bleeding lashes him over on the 89 next week.
Yeah,
it's interesting because Klopp lashed the Brazilian FA over in recent weeks regarding the treatment of players and getting them back, saying that it's literally been a lot of the other FAs will do their best to help out and arrange transport for players, but what they do is with the lads from Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United, they just bundle them all onto the one flight. There's no special arrangements made for anyone. And Klopp saying that really shouldn't be the case anymore with the money that FIFA are forking out for these things to be, especially in the middle of a pandemic when the boys are playing 3 games of football a week. You know what I mean? People go on about the money they make, but at the end of the day, you can't human.
You can't stop international football because if you do that, you have to stop Champions League football. It's travelling, and that's just the way it is. Lads, I have to go and grab another can if that's okay. So, Keith, then Grizz, then Seany, I want you to talk me through the Jota goal because I think it's a fabulous goal from start to finish. Keith,
are we going to go on the disallowed one or just go with the goal that was?
No, go with both of them if you want.
Yeah,
get 2 cans then, Gav.
Get 2 cans, yeah. Well, I mean,
2 can ban them.
2 cans and a tikka masala. You must be fucking joking.
One of the things with the goals, lads, and I know the goal when it does come is excellent, but the disallowed one, it's another sign of Jota just being busy, isn't it? He's in there, he's in the right place, and he's there to tap one in. Now, Seany, did you think it was rightly disallowed, or did you feel there was a bit of frustration that they were looking? They're looking for something to call on, aren't they? I mean, it was offside first, then it's a foul on the keeper, and it turns out the foul was on Ogbonna, who, to me, looked like he was
already on the deck.
Yeah,
He's
and he's
already on the
pushing
deck.
nearly Mane's momentum goes into Fabian. It looked like a bit of a shit show, didn't it?
Yeah. Like, so what is Mane supposed to do? Become a
Yeah.
hologram?
Exactly.
He has every right to challenge the ball. Like, I understand the need for VAR. I do, because we've seen a lot of injustice. But we need to get away from the idea. You need to change the mentality of how VAR is being used, because right now it's anti-football. They're looking for a reason not to give goals when the outlook should be, okay, can I give this goal? Because we tune into football to see goals for entertainment. And you can't tell me Mane directly, because Fabianski gets up and nearly makes the save. He nearly gets up. He reacts.
So he's not injured. He's not injured, and he's not
even impeded, because he's able to spring to the near post and nearly gets a hand on it. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's every week now we're on the end of wrong decisions. We haven't even talked about the Salah thing. I don't even think it was a penalty. I don't think it was a penalty. But you know what? Fuck them, because they've given us nothing else this year. Absolutely nothing else. And they're looking for reasons not to give goals. You can't tell me Mane affected Ogbonna's movement there. You can't tell me Mane impeded Ogbonna or the goalkeeper, because he nearly gets a hand to it. And this is all rectified if they turn on the ref's mic. The ref gets a hot mic during the VAR, and we can see why he's given the decision, so we can make sense of it. It's an absolute fucking joke. It's every week. It's every week now at this stage with us. Every single week. The Sheffield one. There you go, right? So they're looking at reasons not to give that goal, but they were looking at reasons to give the penalty against Sheffield.
Exactly.
It's just it's so fucking frustrating, and it's killing me. It really is killing me. It's killing my ability to even watch football, because I was watching.
Go ahead.
Watching today the Villa game and some of the decisions in that game. I'm just like, what is going on here? This doesn't have to be a fucking thing. Now, I don't think it was a penalty on Salah. I think it's not enough contact for Salah to go down. But there's been times where Salah has actually got suplexed in the box, like fucking Chris Benoit, and got nothing. Or he's wearing centre halves like school bags, and he's still not getting a penalty if he doesn't go down. So he has to go down. So he's damned if you do, damned if you don't. And the way I see it is, it appears to me, now I'm not into conspiracies or anything like that, but since this fucking project Big Picture, it looks like that they're going out of way to screw
I agree
Liverpool.
100% on that.
And it's
100%.
a testament to the lads that the heads haven't dropped, because we were screwed out against Everton, and then we were done at the very end by a decision that denied us the win. We were screwed out against Sheffield. Let's not fucking make any bones about it. That's a poxy decision. You are looking for reasons to give the penalty, and they tried their best again yesterday. And did the lads stop? Absolutely not.
No.
So,
and that's a good point, Johnny, and that's something that I wanted to. Sorry, Gav, I'll let you take back over in a minute. But it's something I wanted to touch on was, we got screwed over on that one. In my opinion, I agree with everything you've said there, Shawnee. I don't think it was a foul at all. I think it was, what could he do? There was no other thing he could have done. No. He tried to play the ball, but they didn't let that mentality drop. They said, right, we're after getting screwed over, and within a couple of minutes, bang, they scored again. Now, they've done the same thing. Was it against Midtjylland? Did we have one disallowed, or was it against Sheffield? I don't know, but there was another game.
Salah's one.
That's it. Yeah, so we had one disallowed, and then a few minutes later, bang, we're not wallowing in these decisions. The team, as you said, aren't letting the fans, we're going mad over them, but the team aren't letting them go bleed and get to their heads.
Sorry, Brian Murray says, here's a conspiracy. The world is a balloon. I love that.
Brian,
Grizz, have you given your thoughts on this disallowed goal / goal? Go on then. I'll go last.
Shawnee was flying there. I would never go.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to fucking stop him.
I disagree with Shawnee in terms of the Salah penalty. I thought it was a penalty. I thought when someone kicks the back of your leg, it's a foul, and he hasn't kicked the ball. It's a foul.
Yeah, but it's a contact sport, Chris. It's not basketball. It's not basket. It's a contact sport.
Shawnee's not going to like me in a minute. Go on.
He's taking a swipe at him, and has every right to go down.
That's given against those ongoing Russia. If that's given up the other end,
I'd accept that. I'd accept that. But I'm with you on the Mane one. He's got every right to go for that ball. But once it's gone to VAR, once they've seen when it's slowed down and magnified, and then you add in the points of what you guys already said, where they're looking to disallow a goal. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking with a positive mindset or a neutral mindset even to say, look, the referee's given a goal. Let's see if there's been any clear error. There's no clear error there. I knew it was going to be disallowed. The sad part of it, and we've discussed it again before, is the fact that I didn't celebrate any of our goals.
Yeah.
I didn't. I honestly thought every single one's going to be disallowed.
I did.
You even see the players, but you're wicked. You're brilliant like that. Cans has that effect. You basically every goal was like waiting for the flag to go up. I'm
Even
waiting
the
for
penalty.
Yeah. Everything. They're going to stop it any second. Which is, and you can see it. Look, we've talked about Jota and what an impact he's had in the club, but I feel sorry for the kid. He should be celebrating every goal with, these are the best times of his life, probably, and he's having to sort of hesitate and look around if it's a goal and whatnot. But what can we say about the mentality? What can we say about these guys that everything against them? Because my shoulders had dropped by then as well. I was thinking, this is it. And, they kept going and going and going. And we were talking about Mane's first half. He didn't have a brilliant second half, but he didn't stop trying. Same with Mo. You can see the determination and the focus on their faces to keep going. And great players do that. And the more great players keep going, the more chances your team has to score a goal. And that's what it was in the end. Our guys came up with the goods. Shaqiri's through ball is absolutely sublime. And, Shawnee touched upon Jota's pace. That was an example of his pace over 10 yards, which is, I can't think of any player that can rival that over 10 yards. He was just outside the box. The guys got him, the centre-backs or whoever was marking him has him in his sights. And then within a second, he hasn't got him in his sights. And Shaqiri sees that, and a stunning finish, and, off we go. But with the incidence of the penalty, and the disallowed goal, I think we got one right. It was definitely a penalty, but the disallowed goal, I thought it wasn't a foul. But once it gone to VAR, we knew we knew what was next.
Okay, strap yourselves in. VAR is shit. All right.
No, it's not.
It is. It's absolutely horrendous, and you can blame the body. Listen, the bodies that are doing it are part of the process, and the process is appalling, right? So it is VAR. All the components are there, whether it's technology or people. It's all in one thing, and it's crap, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, on the disallowed, you and Shawnee like this Project Restart or Project Big Picture or whatever. I don't agree with that. I think the decisions across the league are just atrocious for us and others as well. All right. I think there's plenty of decisions there that are going against other clubs where you go, fuck me, if that, like Shawnee said, if that goes against us, you're like, what the fuck? We are tuned into what we're looking at from our point of view, and that's absolutely fine. All of the clubs are doing it, but there's loads of clubs out there that don't like the decisions that go against them. With regards to the Mane thing for the disallowed goal, I take you back to the penalty incident for Salah. Mane's fouled in the build-up, am I right?
Yeah, he was,
Yeah. So I think it's Cresswell comes across him.
Oh. Yeah.
Am I right?
The first half, yeah.
Didn't even get a mention.
Yeah, so if Mane's is a foul on the goalkeeper because he misses the ball in an attempt to play it, right? Mane should never be jumping in there. Football's, forget it, it's over, because you can't jump in to try to get a ball. Why isn't Cresswell given a penalty against him? Because he just throws himself across Mane, he doesn't hit the ball and impedes him. Should be a penalty. The Salah thing is a penalty for me, and the defender's very silly. And the one thing that compounded it for me this morning was Danny Murphy, who decides that he doesn't like to see this sort of thing from Salah. And then I got shown a video today of Danny Murphy talking about Harry Kane going down in the box from a couple of months back around Christmas last year.
And he's done the same thing again tonight.
I haven't watched tonight, but I will tell you that Danny Murphy's comments while sitting beside Ian Wright in the Match of the Day studio
with his arm
Christmas last year, saying, well, that's not enough to go down, but players have to go down, and it's much to do about nothing, I think was the words Gary Lineker used. And everyone went, yeah, I agree, right?
No, Murphy said
Murphy
much
said it,
ado about
and Lineker agrees, right?
Yeah.
And that's Harry Kane going down. So there's nothing in it, you know. Oh, you go down. Ian Wright even says you go down under that challenge because if you stay up, you don't get the decision. And now you have Danny Murphy telling you that Salah goes down and you know, players stay up and you don't get decisions, and Salah does that and you don't like to see it, right? Yeah. Stop watching Match of the Day is the message here. Because
can I just say
no, hold on. Stop watching Match of the Day because they're absolute fuckwits that are on there, right? And they're being told what to say. Right. If Danny Murphy can tell you that Harry Kane goes down at the slightest contact because, you know, strikers do that, they have to, and then he tells you that he doesn't like what he's seeing Salah doing, stop watching it, right? Because they're playing games with you. The Salah one is a penalty, defender's silly. The Mane one, I would probably, I'd agree with VAR on that. He doesn't get the ball, he does hit the keeper, fair enough. But if you go back and look at the incident with Cresswell, you go, well, what's the difference here? Because they're both on their feet. You know, it's an absolute joke.
But the Mane one wasn't given for the foul.
They fouled Mane for Ogbonna. They fouled him for the trailing leg catching Ogbonna.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. If anything, Ogbonna's lumping him.
You know,
like Ogbonna is on the ground.
Yeah,
is on the ground by the time Mane even makes touch with him. So what has he done? What has he stopped? Ogbonna actually gets a toe on the ball. He plays it into fucking Jota's path.
Yeah, but the thing is, Seany, right? There's more of an argument. There's more of an argument to say that Mane's felt the keeper there, because the keeper gets impacted by getting up and trying to get the goal and can't. Right?
Match of the Day has been on already. I'd imagine that Harry Kane tonight was referred to being a cute and clever classic number 9 forward play.
Yeah.
For the penalty.
Stop watching it. Stop.
Gary Lineker done a tweet earlier.
Calvert-Lewin done it years ago at Anfield against us. Remember the same thing? You run across him and you just stop.
Yeah.
Like everyone in this chat, except for Phil Casey, who's watching because he pretends he doesn't watch the matches. But we all watch Liverpool and we analyse everything in microcosm. Yeah. You can count on 2 hands how many times in a game Salah will have his back to a striker or a defender, and they're mauling him. And you can see Salah putting his hands out, going to the 4th official saying, like, what the fuck is going on here? If he stays on a feet, he gets nothing. If he goes down, he's told he's over-dramatising it. He gets mauled. One thing, a decision that nobody has talked about on any platform is Villa were 2-1 down. Salah's going to play the ball. John McGinn
slaughtered him.
Cuts him in half in the box, but uses his body to get in front of the striker and win the ball. He's no intention to go with the ball. Wasn't even looked at. Why? Because the defender gets the benefit of the doubt. But when Harry Kane does it, he's clever. It's narratives again, Gav. It's this: Liverpool can't defend. Salah is a diver. It's the same shite. Is Salah a diver? He does exaggerate contact, but that's because because when he doesn't exaggerate contact, he gets fuck all, because he gets mauled in football. He's being suplexed.
Yeah,
his head around the neck. He gets mauled in football matches.
But this goes back to my original point, Johnny. Right? Salah is being held on, headlocked, arms over shoulders, wrapped around him. He's getting taken out by John McGinn, for argument's sake. Now that's no excuse on the Villa result, right? And then Mane yesterday with Cresswell, it's a penalty. It's a fucking simple penalty. Now this comes back to my original point, right? VAR is appalling, right? And what I mean by that is people go, oh well, no, the lines work and all. I'm not talking about lines. I'm talking about referees who are part of VAR. I'm talking about linesmen, 4th officials, fellas in a transit van down in Stockley Park, and then the media narrative. So when you couple it all together, right, you are being shown a product which is appalling, and then you're being made excuses for a product by these people that are paid as professionals to give their view on the game, not to be biased, to give their view on the game. Now, if Danny Murphy, and I don't really give 2 fucks about Danny Murphy, but if Danny Murphy can sit down, I don't. But if Danny Murphy can sit down at Christmas and tell you that Harry Kane was cute in what he done by winning a penalty, and Mo Salah, that you don't like to see what Mo Salah done, you have to start questioning what the motives of them comments are. right? And it actually goes beyond Liverpool. It goes beyond Liverpool as a club. It goes beyond Liverpool as a city. It goes beyond Liverpool as title winners or title pretenders. It goes beyond that. And I'm not going to go as far as to say what it goes to, because I'm not going to put myself in that position. But everyone can guess what I'm getting at here, okay? And that is the big issue. And when you couple all these factors together, it's a fucking mess. An absolute and utter mess. And I don't care anyone says, and Grizz has said this to me, and Andy to a point has said this to me, it's at a certain stage and all. When the fuck are we getting out of these stages? When are we getting away from this? Because we're not. Because every single week there's another problem. And listen, everyone make mistakes, Seany. Everyone makes mistakes. But listen, if I go into my job tomorrow, right, and my wife goes for a job tomorrow and she makes a mistake, you go, made a fucking mistake, don't do it again. How do I improve? These aren't. These are making mistakes and continuing to make mistakes, and no one can question them. No one's going to question Danny. No one's going to question Danny Murphy, right? Apart from fellas on Twitter, nobody's going to talk about referees, because look. Nobody can fucking ask referees, and nobody can ask the fella in the back of that van in Stockley Park or the Port cabin, because you're not allowed.
Why don't BBC do pieces on referees during the game the way they say, oh, here's a lovely bit of play from Calvert-Lewin holding up the ball? Why don't they turn around and say, well, we'll go through Michael Oliver's game today. What do you think it is? Why are they above accountability? I don't understand it. That it's not even that they're not accountable. They're above accountability, because if you say anything about them, you get fined. You can't do anything. What your man David Q was the one that Robertson, the Burnley game last year, that meant nothing. Robertson turned around and said,
bleeding ape shit on him,
how the fuck is that not a penalty? Now, we probably should need to be Q to the players and saying, you know what, if you get done by an official, don't fucking say anything to them, because the chances are they'll probably be doing your game 6 weeks down the line. But if the people in the media were lashing refs out of it, but then it'd put more pressure on the refs to get decisions right. It'd put more pressure on the FA and the Premier League to fucking make sure they're doing the due diligence and who's reffing these games. Like you said, Gav, there's lads in Stockley Park. Why can't they do a veto system? Why can't 4 or 5 good refs sit down and video assist a game? And then what will happen is, if there's a decision that's up in the air, they'll say there's 5 of them there. 3 of them thought it wasn't a pen. 2 of them thought it was. All right, so majority rules, the 3 of them. So then, if you know, well, 3 of these refs gave that decision, then you can go, well, 3 fucking idiots gave it. Now, what's the chances of 5 of them being incompetent in the same situation?
See, Seany, I wouldn't. I turn all accountability back onto the referee. Otherwise, don't have them there. Just video ref the fucking thing, because you can
do that as well.
As you said the other week, and I know Grizz is dying to get in here by the looks of him, but as you said last week. I know you are. I know you don't want to get into this. But as you said to me last week, Seany, they're there to assist, right? So,
but
at every opportunity, the ref should be given all the information and then put in front of a screen and went, this is what we're seeing. Here, I'm going to play it back for you. You have a look. You make the decision. Even without miking them up, Seany, that puts responsibility and makes it a little bit more clearer for everybody. That's what
you seen the rugby yesterday. You know exactly what's going on at every turn. So when a decision is made, you're going, all right. But now we're relying on these reports that we're getting from the Premier League.
Seany, what's the biggest argument? What's the biggest argument do you think against miking up referees?
I think that the worry is the way, the respect rugby player, the respect the rugby player has for the referee is completely different to the dynamic between the trust of a ref and a football player. Now, if a rugby player opens their mouth in the wrong fashion to a referee, you're gone. You're sin-binned, and that's the end of it. I'd imagine we've all played football, you know, fuck's sake, ref, fucking hell, ref, how is he? Yeah. Like, decisions, everyone, you look at Spanish football, they're surrounding referees at every opportunity. You look at City, they do it. They need to cut it out. Like you said, videos going around to the Australian referee where the referee is turning around to the players saying, look, Scotty, you might have been offside here. I'm just going to, look, ball came off him, you're offside. Turns around to the captain, listen, this is what happened. Ball was flicked on by your player, therefore he wasn't offside. The player turns around and says, all right, there's me cake. Yeah. Bang. We can hear that. It doesn't even look like there's a communication between the refs, because if you look at when the decision is being made, 90% of the time, the ref is standing there with his finger in his ear. He's surrounded by players shouting at them, and all he's doing is telling them to go away. And then he makes the decision. You never see him explaining to either captain as to why the decision was made.
Yeah.
So there's another thing they can do. Who was West Ham's captain yesterday?
Declan Rice.
Declan Rice.
Right. So Declan, there's a decision being made.
You pulled the bolt over.
Yeah, exactly. So the ref. Who was the ref yesterday? Sorry.
Fucking Kevin Friend.
Kevin Friend, right? Kevin
If he's
Friend
watching,
says,
lovely fella, sorry.
right.
But
The rule should just be.
sorry,
and
Kev.
This could be so easily implemented. The referee just needs to turn around and say, Jordan, Declan, come here. The rest of you fuck off. If any of you are in around here, you're getting booked. It's as simple as that. The two captains are there. The onus is on the captains. Right. There's the decision. Kevin Friend turns around to Declan Rice. Look, the goal's being disallowed. This is why. Jordan, the goal's being disallowed. This is why. There you go. There's a connection immediately between the players and the referee. That's gone now because the referees are all on this mad ego buzz where they're like, you can see it. They love it. Get away from me. Mike Dean is a cunt for it. You can tell. He knows when he's on the camera. He's like that. Get away. They don't communicate even with the fucking players. So not only do we not know what's going on at home, the players don't know what's going on. How often do you see a decision made in VAR and you can see the player was standing there with his hands up going, what was that for? And it's never explained.
Yeah.
It's never explained.
But
so
it is, but you see, it's the narrative again, right? Because, football fans can't drink in sight of a football pitch and rugby fans can. And it's always because, there'll be problems. Why you telling us we can't be like that, right? And now we are saying, you can't have them mic'd up for a football game, the language is awful, right? It's something that's just told you, and people just automatically go, yeah, it's grand. Like Michael Ramsey, my favourite person in the whole wide world, says, does Klopp have a problem with Bobby? Only British who are as poor as VAR. I think he means by that it's the British that are poor at VAR. You have a point because it is different in the Champions League. Does he have a problem with Bobby? Maybe it's a twisted one where he just keeps playing him, even though he hates him. I'm not too sure. Sam Tandy says, just mic them up when it goes to VAR decision, not every minute. Absolutely, it makes so much fucking sense. It's untrue.
But you know what? If a ref just get rid of VAR, and if a ref makes a shite decision, deal with it and talk about it in the office on Monday and get on with it. Just go back to the way it was because there wasn't this much hype. It went away. You used to just say that's football. That's what you used to just say. That's
one
football.
Of the things Andy says, and he's right, you don't want the shitty bad decisions. The referees, and it's an accountability thing with VAR. The head of the PGMOL is Mike Riley, and Mike Riley was one of the most incompetent referees, the most Weasley referees that I'd seen when I was growing up. I thought he was a fucking disgrace. He has an attitude where he's never accountable for that, and he's the chief of that now. And if he's leading that, that's what's going to happen. They have a referee in a booth in a transit van in Stockley Park telling his mate, because they work in teams. It's not like it can be any ref. So they might have, Martin Atkinson will have John Moss as his VAR. John Moss will have Martin Atkinson as his VAR. So that's his mate. And he's not going to pull him up and tell him, listen, you've made a balls of that. Get on, you change that. They won't do it. There's no accountability and they never get pulled up on it. Dermot Gallagher comes over on Sky Sports on a Monday morning to review all the decisions, and that's the only time you ever hear a referee or Philip Walton or Peter Walton, whatever.
Yeah, what position is Dermot Gallagher or Peter Walton in?
Exactly.
Are they still part of the PGMOL?
I think they're retired. So they've no say. And that's the only time you ever hear from a referee is when you're retired. It's the only time you ever hear from them.
And that's exactly, Keith. Nail on the head. And they'll lap it up when they're done. Do you know what I mean? It's
every one of them.
It's one of these things that's like, Paul Scholes never said a word when he was a footballer. Yeah, it's clearly apparent why now, because since he's retired, the shite that he's come out with, it's obviously that he was gagged. Do you know what I mean? He was gagged by Ferguson saying, you're a bit of a mongo. You don't be going into the fucking media. Do you know what I mean? And that's the truth. You see these refs, they get away with fucking murder.
They do get away with murder.
It's a joke. Like you said, Keith, these lads all go training in George's Park doing laps together. You seen when Carrie Neville and Jamie Carragher, they're all mates. So you're like, look, if I turned around and we did a podcast tomorrow, now which we do, and I turned around and say, Grizz, you talked some shite that last night, but I wouldn't say her on air or vice versa. You don't do that. You don't dig your mates out because the structure is wrong.
If enough of us ask, we can do it.
If they've might threaten, who was the mad one where Lamella jumped on the ground? Remember that? remember the penalty that was given against us.
When Bladen Van Dijk
Spurs. And then by
John Moss was the bleeding ref, and
then he caught him on the
and he said, "Martin, can you check that on the telly?" And there was no VAR.
No, I thought that was to do with a Kane penalty where
that was the Kane one, but it was
and he was asked to check on the telly. Like it's a reason why these Mongos aren't mic'd up. The same reason that the Mongo coppers over here aren't giving guns, because they just like you cannot give control to these idiots because they'd be completely exposed for what they are. Now, I apologise to any coppers in the chat.
Yeah, great pillars of the community.
These are great lads, and these are great for the parish and all that.
Yeah.
They completely be exposed. Like your man John Moss. Do you know what? I'm going to give a penalty.
I didn't see it.
I'm going to
prime example.
Sky will be delighted. 90 a minute. And do you know what? It's Harry Kane 100 goal in the Premier League, and then they premiered the fucking Harry Kane 100 club 10 o'clock that night. So I'd say it's just one of these things that it just makes you think, how are these fucking idiots how are they not held accountable? Why aren't they pulled to the side after the game and saying this? They're paid enough. They're well paid. If a referee used to be a part-time job, like Howard Webb was a copper on the side, but it's not like that anymore. They're full-time professionals now. They should be held up to the regard that the full-time professional footballers are, because it's a fucking joke. And like Keith said, you only hear from the dickheads when they retire and they're in BT studios.
Well, I wouldn't listen to them, to be honest with you, when they retire. I think they still sit on the fence massively. Grizz, this is the longest segue ever, but through all of that, Grizz, the mentality of Liverpool is we don't really give a shit. We're just going to go out and win games. And if that's tearing you apart, fighting you to the death, or grinding it out from minute 1 to minute 90, that's what we're willing to do. And Grizz, this team has a fucking all, doesn't it? And we've spoken over the last couple of days, and we said last season was amazing. The season before was amazing. The season, every season under Klopp has been brilliant. But 17, 18, we lose the European Cup final. 18, 19, we win the European Cup, and we come a point short in the league. We've smashed the back doors off it last season. And they were lucky that there was a break in football, because we would have done 100 and many points. And this season, Grizz, you've said it to me, and I fully agree with you. If we do this season, it's the best ever.
Yeah, it's the reason why I share the same mentality as Jurgen.
I thought you were going to say it's the reason why I'm still here, just to answer this question.
I'm leading to that. It's the reason why I stayed quiet for that segment on VAR, refereeing, bad decisions, etc., etc. And one of the main reasons is there's nothing we can do about it. It's just a matter of doing our own heads in. I stayed quiet because
that's fair.
I've given my opinion on it. All those things that you said should be in place, they should be, and I still think they will eventually. But it's fine. It's fine, because we've got a manager that is using all this, absolutely lapping it all up, putting it into a potion and feeding the players with it. And the players are responding to that potion. And Gav, there's no other word for it. It's magic potion that he's putting into these players that is enabling them to not even week in, week out, every other day, it seems, sort of, because we're playing every 3 days, every 2-3 days. Gav, when Virgil van Dijk got that season-ending injury, everyone's eyes lit up. Every coach, every player, every fan saw a potential hole in a massive wall that was Liverpool and Virgil. And they've tried every way to get through that hole in the wall, whether it's via VAR, whether it's by pumping long balls, changing tactics. Do what you got to do against Liverpool. Let's try to get something out of this team. We're not budging, Gav. The mentality, the strength and unity, the siege mentality, what we've shown in the last 5 games, is it, since Klopp, since Virgil, or 4 games maybe, I think, and we've won 4 games, is you can't put any stat on it. You can't quantify and how to evaluate that. You just have to sit in awe and respect it, appreciate it, and just humble ourselves that this guy above anyone else knows exactly each one of his players better than us and is motivating each player individually or as a collective, however he's doing it. It's fucking working, because every time they step on that pitch, they are so focused. It's unreal, Gav. There are times, even the most toppish red, like Seany, as he says, he even felt a little bit weak this week. Surely this is it. This is it. But it's true. It's human nature.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine how did they do it? That's what I want to know.
We're humans. That's why we feel like that. But these players are showing themselves not to be human. It's mad. So yeah, look, all this drama about the referees and the decisions and everything, and people talking about us, and I love it. And this will be the most satisfying campaign if we can pull this off, Gavin.
Absolute can't.
Jesus Christ, this is Mango Lassie.
Come here, they can be in level 11 if we win this league. They can go and ask me bollocks, right? Because I'm going absolutely rash if we win this league.
We will be the unbearable bearables. The unbearable unbearable, sorry. We will go off.
But listen,
and deservedly so.
Lads, we're taking...
If Klopp is selling steak tomorrow, I'd buy it.
Yeah, 100%. 2 balls.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's 2 balls. One for me, ma.
That's what it is. Like it comes down to Klopp. That's what it is. It's belief and unity, and like
it's him and his backroom. It's him and his backroom. It's him and his backroom staff, and I think that's shown at the end of last season. He makes a big point of what his backroom staff do, their function, their influence, their attention to detail, everything, and that's not just when things are good. That's not when things just need to be planned and you're on a roll. They become the focus on them is sharpened when things are getting a bit tough. Players are out, game every 3 days, and these people show their absolute value in times like this. That's my opinion on it. Kieran Thorne says losers make excuses, winners overcome. We might get that on a mug. 15.99 plus 18 quid postal packaging.
Yesterday they win 1-0. Yeah. And they would have been what? There's no doubt. There's nothing sure. All right, you can go on about everyone else because the rest are pretenders. It's us and City again. All right, don't get dragged into any of these narratives that the rest of them are good enough, because they're behind us. They're behind us. Okay, they're behind us. And look who we've played. All right, next week is huge, but the pressure is on City. City would have been watching that last night and gone, "Fucking hell, are we gonna have to do this again? Is this gonna be it? Is it gonna be dig for? Is it gonna be dig for dig again? Because these fellas are on their knees, squad wise, and they're still digging it out. When Laporte got injured last year, to people slagging us saying, "Oh, we do a funeral for Van Dijk." Like when Laporte got injured last year, they were only short of putting a statue of him in the defence.
Yeah,
that's the difference between us. When the chips are down, we will dig it out. And look, we still have lads to come back. This is the best thing. Next week is huge. Honestly, I don't want to jump the gun. If we win next week, forget about it. Because after the international break, when the squad is a little bit fresher and we have bodies back, because we've had all the fucking bad luck we could possibly have.
Yeah.
If this Liverpool team fell into a barrel of tits, they would have come out sucking that thumb. But they would have had fucking 3 points after it. That's how little luck we've had so far this year. VAR is trying to ride us. VAR is trying to ride us. Fucking coronavirus was trying to ride us. Everything. But we're still hanging in there. Still top of the pops.
It's a bit like this.
We're still hanging in there, but we are top of the pop. We're the fucking best we are. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Grizz is hanging on. He's probably looking to put a big pint of milk in that square glass that he has. We beat City next week and they go to bits. Pep walks by January. I'd love to see that, Kieran. I'm being honest with you. I'd love to see that. Listen, we're taking the piss for an hour and 28 minutes in. Grizz is absolutely fuming. If it goes over 90 minutes on the podcast, Grizz does turn on the meter beside him and starts charging double time. So we better get out of here as quick as we can. Lads, before I get through I suppose all the shows that are coming this week and stuff like that. Man of the match, just give me a name. And don't mention Mike Riley or any of his mates. Seany, man of the match.
Gini Wijnaldum.
Nice. I like it. I like it. Keith, man of the match.
Nat Phillips.
Nat Phillips. Grizz?
Nat Phillips.
Yeah. I'm torn now.
Nat Phillips done his job yesterday, boys. Genie Wijnaldum was fucking excellent.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with, I think I agree with Shawnee too. I thought Wijnaldum was brilliant. I really did. Very, 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 very good. And it's the sort of Wijnaldum stuff that you just go, just give him another fucking deal with it and stop messing. As with regards, listen, that was a long show. We apologise if it's upset you that you've had to stay up this late. We're
Not
sorry.
sorry at all.
Well, none of them boys are sorry. I'm sorry. Grizz is going to eat the head on me when we get off this.
Look at him.
He's fucking going rasher. Michael Ramsey is back. He beat City and it's all over. Yeah, I like that. Michael Ramsey, favourite person in the whole world. Couple of things this week. The forum is back tomorrow. You've Ray Dicko hosting. You have Phil. You've Peter Smith, and you have Nilo. Nilo's back tomorrow. Tuesday we play Atalanta. We're going to have a show pre-game and post-game, and we haven't decided who's doing them yet. But that is the one where you can come on and you can literally come on and talk like we're talking now. So what we're going to do is we're going to open it up and we're going to stick it in the description of the show. So listen, the show usually goes up the night before. Go in and find the description, find the link and click on that from, it'll probably be about 7 o'clock on Tuesday and then about 10:15 on Tuesday night. Wednesday will be the midweek fix. Friday will be the Friday forecast, but Thursday is the day you need to watch. Thursday, a king is born on Thursday. As Ilo Black once said, Grizz Carnage is the name of the show. It's a play on Carnage. Yeah, it is. And it's a brilliant play on Carnage, by the way. But Grizz Can launches his own show on Thursday at 10 p.m. We will confirm the guests on Monday. And this will hopefully be every week, every 2 weeks, whenever we can fit these guests in. But it's Grizz talking to guests about football in general, having rows, having debates, loads of context, absolutely dollops of context. So
No
you absolutely
holds
love
barred.
it. No
Absolutely
holds
no holds
barred.
barred.
You are going... Go
I
on,
thought it
Keith.
was the Can Age, and it was like the Ice Age, and
The
it was a
age-
history sort of thing, and Grizz was going to be talking
Well,
about sort of the period.
if it doesn't turn out to be Carnage, we can pretend it was the Carnage, right? So we'll do okay there. But no, it's going to be listen, if the people Grizz is speaking to happens, it's going to be outrageously good.
Honestly,
Outrageously
Walk
good.
said in the chat,
I'm not-
first guest
I'm not
Brian
defending-
Larda to talk about Grizz's 142.
I honestly heard it's going to be the best podcast in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
That's what I heard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's tier one info. That is tier one info.
That's tier one info.
It
And
will
yeah,
stay.
you're
You're
going to get the list of centre backs as well for January, so make sure you tune in.
Oh yeah, and
Grizz lashed him in the group earlier, and holy Jesus, me jokes were caked in it.
Yeah.
it will remain the best podcast in the world until Shawnee rings Uriah Rennie and says, "Let's talk about VAR." And when that happens, Grizz is fucked. Let's be honest about it. But listen,
I'd fucking rather talk to Yuri Geller about fucking refereeing decisions.
Grizz once delivered a takeaway to Uriah Rennie. Unknown, little known fact. Do you remember that?
Save that for Carnage.
But no,
Carnage
listen,
week one, the Uriah Rennie era. Love it.
listen, we are an hour and 32 minutes in, but genuinely, we have so much fucking shit coming up for you this week. We've loads of guests, but the big one for me is the Grizz one on Thursday, because in all seriousness, you know, you see us on a Sunday night, you see us during the week, you see us doing an hour here, an hour and 30. Grizz is fuming over an hour and 30. But there's loads of work goes on in the background, and Grizz has put an awful lot into what's about to commence on Thursday. And listen, I've said it before, subscribe. If you're watching and you don't subscribe, because you won't unsubscribe, trust me. We do our best. It's good, it's a laugh, we include people. But genuinely, if I want one thing to come out of this season, it's that podcast on Thursday to be supported to the absolute and utter hilt, because that man deserves it. The people that are coming on deserve it, and most of all, you people watching, you absolutely deserve it. That's been the Fatback 4. Thanks to Shawnee, thanks to Keith, thanks to Grizz Carnage Can. As I said, the shows are all there. You'll see them popping up on our YouTube during the week. You'll see it on our social media. We keep you up to date with that. It's been a cracking show. We're sorry for keeping you so long. Go to bed before your ma gives out. Over and out.